We are back with Taylor Bradford of the Gloucester Daily Times to get the latest news on all the things regarding the protesting happening around Cape Ann. How you doing, Taylor?
Doing well. Yeah, the past 2 days have been jam-packed with events, but also people. The city has seen their fair share of protests, all peaceful, but definitely raising awareness for both Black Lives Matter and police brutality across our nation. So we had the first one was one that kind of circled around Grant Circle, that rotary that enters into the city for a lot of people, and that was hosted by the Youth Peace Movement. The protest organizers are Ella Anderson, Camilla Wilkins Bowens, and Jada Exama. And these are 14, 15-year-old girls, women, who kind of saw the need to stand up for things that they believe in, believe that's right. And so they did a protest on Saturday, actually. And it was about 7 to 10 teenagers came and just held signs. Not much of a turnout, but people kind of came. They said that they received a lot of feedback from people. So they thought, okay, we'll do one again on Monday. Mondays had over 200 people show up from all over, and really, really cool to see just people of all different ages, a lot of parents bringing their children. I interviewed a lot of kids and then their parents, specifically moms, saying that they want to raise their children up in a place that they can kind of know what's going on and be socially minded and know the issues and be able to kind of be part of that conversation and know what to fight for. And so that happened on Saturday or Monday. And so that happened. Police were there. They kind of just helped mitigate things to make sure that people were staying safe, that traffic flow was staying as normal as it can be for an afternoon at 3 o'clock in Gloucester. And everyone was wearing masks. I think there was no really social distancing, but everyone was wearing masks, and those who were wanting to kind of keep to social distancing protocol were staying back in that parking lot by the former Friendlies area. So that definitely was a big event on Monday, and actually a really beautiful kind of way in which that people were distancing but also wanting to take part in it. Is as I was driving out of the city after I had covered it, going past Grant Circle, and the protest had ended around 6 o'clock, but a lot of people who were more older, the older generations, were actually out there distant from each other, but holding signs. So after the rest of the kind of main crowd had left, these people came out who wanted to participate, but didn't necessarily feel comfortable being a part of the initial protest because of the lack of social distancing. So definitely a lot of people wanting to raise their voices in a variety of ways. And the story continues. I mean, we saw, I don't know if you guys were in the city yesterday, but yesterday there was another protest, Black Lives Matter, hosted again by a young woman by the name of Emily Polk of Gloucester High School. And for her, it started out as a school project of wanting to do a visual story or photographs of sharing people's stories who maybe don't have a voice. So she chose people of color and kind of the racial injustices that have happened over our country throughout the years. And she felt like her journey and her mission wasn't ended with these after she finished her project. So she decided to host this movement. And it started at Fisherman's Memorial around 1 o'clock. And again, the same number of people came. They had speeches from people from all walks of life. And actually this protest, which I wasn't expecting it to happen, but it actually mobilized all the way from Fisherman's Memorial over at Stacy Boulevard to City Hall, where the mayor was standing on the granite steps of City Hall with her hands on her hips. And she gave about a 17-minute speech to the community members, screaming the words of George Floyd that we know very well by now, I can't breathe. And as she's yelling it, other people are yelling it. And I can tell you that people definitely, even down on the main streets of Gloucester's downtown, could hear them yelling. So it was quite emotion-filled day. And I know the journey and the story doesn't continue, or it does continue as we kind of go out through the week and people are posting on social media, trying to figure out how they can help one another, even when it's not just protests. So definitely a lot of things happening in the city these couple of days and a lot to cover, but we'll kind of see where it goes in the next couple of weeks as the conversation continues.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor, there was a very moving picture of Chief Ed Connolly kneeling with the students. Could you describe that moment? This was on Monday evening, right?
Yeah, Monday evening. So Chief Connolly and the mayor both joined the first protest over at Grant Circle, and the chief joined the protest organizers in kneeling. And we get that the over 8 minutes in which George Floyd had an officer's knee on his neck, they stood in solidarity. And so the chief alongside these students stood there as a representation of just kind of mourning the loss of George Floyd and the impact that other policemen across our nation have had negatively, and he's kind of showing his support to the community and saying this is not right and we need to stand up. So he was there with them. That kind of, you probably saw all over social media those photos. And then again on Tuesday, the police were just, I remember seeing them and they're biking around and they're stopping and just saying to students and to older people who are in the community who are protesting, thank you. Just thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for keeping it peaceful. And this is a great representation of how things could be across our nation and how we can make effective change. So that's something both from Police Chief Ed Connolly and the mayor also took a knee that day and on Tuesday. So definitely a sign and something that I'm sure that our city will remember for a long time.
And I know this isn't necessarily your role, but as a viewer of both of these events, and then I'm sure you're watching what's happening nationally, could you just give us your own vision of what you saw in Gloucester and how that contrasts with the rest of the country or parts of the rest of the country?
Yeah. So I think that the similarities are the signs, right? We have a lot of people in mass, not social distancing, holding signs with different things that kind of state their feelings and kind of, raising awareness for the wrong things that have been happening up in our world these past couple of months. But the differences are far and few between, right? Because while we see no one social distancing and we see a lot of signs saying the same things, these ones are peaceful, and these ones are also run by kids. Like, I think that's something that is just very remarkable to see, because you see a lot of protests, a lot of violence, a lot of riots happening, a lot of people getting hurt and killed, and destruction of property and looting in other places. But here in Gloucester, that's not the case, and this is kind of demonstrated by the next generation of residents here in Gloucester. And you see adults following them and trying to demonstrate the same as these students are. And I think that's a great representation of just, again, how our city comes together in a variety of different ways, but then also how administration and kind of the police force and the other organizations are noting that this is a big decision and a big deal to be a part of. And so just seeing people rally together. So definitely the peaceful aspect to it is a huge component to what makes this different to other places. But then I think also the fact that it's run by our youth and how they're noting from a very young age that this is something that they need to be a part of because it's important and it matters.
Well said, Taylor. Well, maybe we'll talk to you before the week is out. And thanks again for all your work at the Times. You're killing it right now. It's awesome to watch and read. So thanks again, and we'll catch up soon.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Taylor.